This is Brownie's Podcast!
Yes, degenerates, this is Brownie's Podcast. What an insane weekend of football. We got a big show. Dog has managed to get Sticks on the show. Sticks Kernahan, Jonathan.
My favourite.
And look, I won't believe it until we hear Sticks' voice because we know what Campbell's history is with getting guests for this show. But first of all, Dog, you must believe now, old boy.
I believe, all right. What a magnificent performance. The Hawks, they decimated the Blues. I know they had some injuries, but they were a class above, and into the top 8 we go.
Let's cut to the chase, Dog. Can they win it?
Never say never now. You never say
Lids
never.
off.
They are.
That is a bullshit answer. Give me something a bit more definitive. Never
Have
say
some
never.
balls.
What sort of garbage is that you're rolling
Throw
out?
some
You got the book of
testicles.
cliches.
It's such an open season that I think the Hawks can win it. Why can't
No,
they?
man.
Why can't
Why-
they? And they've got
Mate.
West Coast and Richmond. No, North and Richmond the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks. So they can get a home final, no question about it. The MCG, which, well, they're dangerous anywhere, but on the wide expanse of the G, Jesus.
Well, they're in the informed team, John. It's insane to
Yeah.
watch Hawthorn in the last 2 months. Even last weekend, they only lost to GWS by 2 points. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? Is there any mathematical way they can sneak into top 4
No.
and get a second chance?
No, absolutely none. But they're just playing with such freedom and dare and run and carry, and they're an exciting, likeable team to watch. There's never any absolute standout performers, but everyone just plays their role. You've got D'Ambrosio, who could be in the All-Australian squad. You got Josh Weddle that's moved to a wing and kicked 3 great goals. Marbiak Choles resurrected his career.
Yes,
like
yes,
everyone's
thank
just playing good footy.
Does it hurt if you're an Essendon supporter watching D'Ambrosio just charging up and down the ground? Because that seems there's 2 clubs that would have to be privately showing some regret. Jack Ginnivan from Collingwood.
Oh, boy.
D'Ambrosio from Essendon. Like, those boys have not only just contributed, they've shown all Australian level performances throughout the year.
John, Ginnivan was saying that Collingwood, at the end of last season, no one, even like at management, they weren't giving him any love or making him feel like he belonged there. That's what he said.
It's funny, isn't it? The narrative has grown throughout the year that, there was maybe a few issues outside of turning up to the race the night before a grand final. He maybe had one too many chances, Dino. And does that narrative grow, though? Is that getting pumped out by Collingwood, Brown Dog, because they're trying to cover up for their mistake on letting him go? Don't you reckon? Like, I feel as if I've heard more and more of that. No, had to let go. Character question marks, all these sorts of things. Didn't have the fitness. All these sort of things. It's just grown and grown and grown. And all I've seen on the footy field is that he's a bloody good player.
Every excuse under the sun, haven't they? They've thrown it in, but he can play. He's very unselfish. He knows where the goals are, and he's loving his footy. So, well done to Mitch and the Hawks. But you'd hate to do all the hard work, which they've done over the last 12 weeks, and then drop a game against Richmond or North because you go in there just expecting to win.
Well, that's right, yeah. Hey, is James Sicily the best key position kick you've seen ever?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I know it's a hard one off the top of your head. Now, you've played with some great teammates over the journey, especially some of those Gold Coast Suns teammates you had up north. But in terms of key position talent, I think he's the best key position kick I've seen ever.
Ever?
Well, mate, that one where he hit, I'm not sure who it was, might have been Ginnivan in the second half, and he did one against Brisbane a few weeks ago. He is as smooth a kicker and as penetrating a kicker as the game has at the moment.
Yeah.
So I would argue, you put him right up there, he would stack up against any good field kicks.
Michael Hartley excluded, which we spoke about last week.
Yeah.
JB.
Sam Mitchell might
absolutely.
be a modern-day genius. You said before, like, there's not one standout player. His team are just chopping up everyone, and he's a freak. This is an insane story, Dog. I can't believe you're not at least wearing a Hawks jumper today. for
Well,
crying out loud.
until you start winning finals and grand finals, you can't be a modern-day hero, Dino. He's got him in a nice position. They've only won 12 games.
They were nothing in 5, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah,
Jesus!
it's been a nice turnaround, but we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves.
What does it tell you about Carlton? Is it more about Hawthorn or
Injuries.
Well, and
They've been
injuries.
decimated. So Andrew Russell has left the club. I know Andrew from his time at Hawthorn.
Did he jump before he was pushed?
Yes. Yep. And they come out
That's
this
more
week.
definitive. That's what we like. That's what we like, a strong brown dog. Just definitive. No cliche bullshit.
And you get Sard injured. You get Jack Martin, who can't get on the park doing his hammy again. Like they've been ripped apart by soft tissue injuries. The mail I've got is that Mackay has done a quad and will probably be out for the rest of the season as well, which is not hasn't come out yet, but they might lose him as well. Curno's ankle's cooked. They were in a strong position until injuries decimated and derailed their season. It's as simple as that.
Pedestrian. They're pedestrian.
John.
Their leg speed through the middle, that was exposed by the Hawks. And you look at their base midfielders, they've got Cripps. Kennedy was in there, Hewitt was in there, and I think a hampered Sam Walsh, who looks like he's carrying a crook back. So they've just got no run, and it was really showing up in the G yesterday. I couldn't see Carlton winning from here. Jesus, it would be an almighty turnaround. They nearly got the fork in them, I would have thought.
Well, if you're Carlton now with those injuries, then Eagles have got nothing to lose this weekend coming up. They've won 2 games in a row. Mate, you'd be a bit wobbly. Eagles are a half chance to beat Carlton this weekend. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. They've got their tail up. They've come from behind to win the last couple of weeks, and they look like they've got that breath of fresh air again ever since Simo sort of went away. And, they've won a couple of games, and they've got that run and carry back.
Do you reckon Simo's spent any time at Hungry Jack's the last couple of weeks, just sort of familiarising himself with the business? Like, he's got 2 of them.
Johnny
Is there any chance he's in there flipping burgers at the moment? Because Simo, to me, looks like he's got an unbelievable work ethic and a man that would probably get bored quickly. So he's had a couple of weeks off, dog. Surely he's been in there, even just sort of separating the slice of cheese.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, do you reckon he'd be taking great pride in the fact the Eagles have come out and won their last couple, or you'd be a little bit disappointed, you know?
Oh, well, he's been busy.
It's like your ex-girlfriend. You just break up with someone, and then they immediately bounce back with someone, better than you.
Saturday night, I've got a question for you. I'll lead it in. So we spoke about Josh Weddle. If you're going to pick one, would you have Josh Weddle or Mac Andrew, who won the game after the siren for Gold Coast on the weekend and broke the Bombers fans' hearts?
I would have Josh Weddle in a heartbeat.
Really?
I think he's a star. Only because I know that Mac Andrew can play forward and back, but Weddle can play on the wing. He's probably a little bit more versatile than Mac, which is saying
Andrew
something.
can play in the ruck as well, though.
Yeah, true, he can. He's going to be an unbelievable talent. I don't think we've even touched the surface on Mac Andrew, and he had that mark, his name written all over it. I've gone back and watched the replay about 5 times. There's 4 Essendon defenders there doing all.
yeah, that's well summed up.
Dog, but when you watch...
that's how Brad Scott would have summed it up in the post-game review today.
When you watch Max run at the ball coming in, he stops, sprints a bit, and changes his speed. He's a freak. It was unbelievable. Imagine being an Essendon fan. What the hell? Imagine that long drive home, Jonathan, that night. Jesus.
When you're playing on a guy that athletic, you can't allow him a clean running jump at the footy. Body check him, nothing untoward, but you've got to be there, putting body contact on him. That was almost uncontested, that mark, for the game.
As Dino said, changed his speed up. Would have sounded a bit different if he was going to a rave party, Dino, but we're talking about in the football context.
Correct,
and I agree, Dino, that's part of forward line, that's part of key position craft. Changing your speed on approach makes it hard for the defenders to get a set on you. He's a star. And I like how he's got a bit of mongrel in him. He had that big blue at half-time. And Ben King had to drag him away from a few problems late in the game as well.
He's got a DUI
he's just got a bit of swagger about him. I don't mind it. I really like it. So he's got a bright future, and talk that he may get offered $1 million a year from rival clubs.
Is Mac Andrew a chance of inheriting your number, Campbell? That would be a very that'd be a fair honour.
It went to Peter Wright up there. I don't know who wears it at the moment, but
it's not abandoned, is it?
No, I don't know.
Not retired, abandoned.
30.
Strong number.
Peter Wright had it, and then he sort of moved to Essendon, and I'd have to check to see who was
Can
wearing
we get a campaign up for Mac? What numbers Mac Andrew wear at the moment?
Great question.
Legs 11. No, I have no idea. But Brody raises a good point. They didn't.
Oh my God, he's number 31.
I wonder if he'd move down just one. If Brown Dog allows it. Imagine that, a presentation of Brown Dog in the rooms before. Who did you present the jumper to early in the year? The other round.
3 of the lads. Closey, Couple of other
been good.
boys.
You can't even remember.
Come on.
No,
Jonathan, your team.
Will Graham and Ethan Reid.
Mate, Will Graham's been outstanding as well.
Levi Casbolt currently has number 30.
Levi.
From legend to legend
Can't
he
get it going,
goes.
Levi.
No, Levi's last year.
Right, let's go to the Gabba now. And John, a whole bunch of people watch your team shit the bed. Are you worried or what? Well, how you feeling, Big John?
Well, they won 10 in a row, so it's okay. It's okay for them to have a little, little soft spot in the second half. And in the first quarter, they were plus 25 contested possessions, plus 15 inside 50s. They kicked 4 goals, 7 to 1 behind.
Yeah.
Quarter time, the game looked over, except Adam Kingsley walked down and gave his boys a fair old tongue lashing. Lynchy said he could hear it from about 50 metres away. And rightly so, but geez, they responded. Isn't that a good sign? Just the old-fashioned cook from the coach. And then his boys got to work. They cleaned up Brisbane's much-vaunted midfield. So, yeah, that was. I actually don't mind GWS. I think they're a real sleeper. And they were impressive the way they spun the magnets around. Sam Taylor got back into form. Lockie Whitfield went forward and helped set up the game late. There's a lot of real positives about them, and I like the GWS Giants going into it.
And it was their young kids as well that stepped up.
Darcy Jones.
Cadman kicked 3 in the
Yeah,
last.
Cadman was good.
Darcy Jones was really good. I think that Finn Callahan's a star, so they've got a very bright future.
I'll tell you what was a little bit disappointing. Brisbane looked like they were going to drag themselves out of the mire early in the last quarter when Joe Danaher kicked the goal. Yeah, Joe had been well held at that point by Sam Taylor. But then Charlie Cameron decided to celebrate a really boisterous, over-the-top celebration. And whilst jumping up to celebrate with Big Joe, obviously there's a height difference, Charlie's come down and rolled his ankle. Oh. Now, Charlie had been a very good contributor to this point, but he went down writhing around on the ground in pain, then had to go to the bench for 10 minutes and have his ankle re-strapped at a critical point when the Giants were making a run at the Lions.
Oh, Jesus.
So, Charlie. Hey, what about John Longmire? Is any chance at three-quarter time? Now, I'm modest, but I thought I better bring this up. I just wanted it noted for the record because none of you guys were going to bring it up. Friday's Fire Up, which was on Thursday, it was pointed fairly and squarely at Sydney and the Bloods culture. And wanting the Swans to turn up, much like their fellow Bloods namesakes over in South Central LA who turn up to every contest. They do. And I asked for a better contest.
Well said, John.
Clearly, that's what they did after three-quarter time. Now, is there any danger that Horse played in my Fire Up at three-quarter time?
He was doing the hand signals of the Bloods. And
please don't do that. Please don't
remember what Browny said about the Bloods, all that sort of stuff.
Mate, if he did, they left it late because the whole stadium looked flat until that last-minute comeback. And then bang!
They've got a habit of giving very good sides, head starts. Their first quarters are just absolutely diabolical. Unless they can work out why they don't rock up in the first quarter, they're in trouble, the Swans.
What about the Stars?
Yeah.
How good were like Heaney and Warner especially? Well, Heaney and Warner especially. Goulden kicked that goal late, which is amazing as well, held by Steel Sidebottom. But Heaney's last quarter, above all, was unbelievable. And that just goes to show, if you're going to win it and you're going to go all the way to the big dance and win the big dance, we love talking about role players, but it's the big guns. Can they stand up on the big day? That's what gets it done for you.
Heaney, did he get suspended for something real minor and now he probably can't win the Brownlow?
Yeah, he got 1 week.
Bullshit.
Yeah, just a little backhander and got a week. Yeah, versus the Saints.
Docker's losing over there. The whole ladder's thrown in a bit of disarray, especially with Doggies losing as well. But how about Danger at the end of that Freo clash? Just pretty much carrying them over the line, Dog.
He was huge, wasn't he, Danger? Probably had not a season that he would have hoped to have had by his lofty standards. He missed a little bit of footy as well, but he's still got that. We just spoke about Warner and Heaney needing to lift for their side. He certainly did that. He had 11 clearances. He was absolutely huge, and he doesn't get the big numbers anymore, the 30-plus disposals, but he's still a raging bull around the contest, Danger.
Yeah, 1 goal too. He might be just warming up, though. Remember this what happened in 22, Dog?
Yep.
When they managed him throughout the year, had his injury issues. Geelong knows That's a smart coaching staff. Like, Chris Scott's as good as we've seen in our generation about managing players and obviously his ability to get his best players playing their best football at the back end of the year or the right time of the year. And I think Patrick Dangerfield is just warming up nicely. And they could be the smoky Geelong. Well, not a smoky. They're in the top 4. But they could be just timing their run. I spoke to Chris Scott Monday night, who was going on before 360. I was just chatting to him in the kitchen at Fox Footy. And I asked him how he thought the boys were. And he said, look, we're actually in pretty good shape. He said, the reason I say that is because all my senior players are healthy, which health is your best friend, isn't it? You know, so come this time of the year. So they could get it done if they clicked in September. They only need to play 4 or 5 good ones in a row.
John, if you're a Geelong fan, you're a very lucky bastard. They finished 12th last year after winning a flag. You think naturally they're going to go away for a few years. They just stay relevant like Sydney seems to do for the last 2 decades.
Well, everyone wants to go down and play there late in your career. You can go and live on a farm. You turn up to training half as much as any other club, Dino. Or you can go and live down by Bells Beach and surf if you like. Whatever you want to do, Dino. It's like they're like part-time footballers down there. They just love it. So older blokes will just keep going down there and playing. Like if Dog had gone to Geelong instead of the Gold Coast Suns, he'd still be playing. He'd absolutely still be playing.
I wouldn't be mentally fried.
He'd be on a farm pulling tits, is what they say, the dairy industry, and he'd be kicking goals. He made a huge mistake trying to chase fake boobs in Gold Coast, and it all went bad.
Dino, you're spot on. Instead of the Year of the Sun,
yes,
it could have been pulling tits and kicking goals. That would have been the name of his book. If he had gone to Geelong, like honestly, like that had a much better ring to it, didn't it? And obviously a lot greater chance of success.
All right, hey, let's go to Melbourne, Port Adelaide. Broads, you were all like, oh, we're going to smash them by 1,000,000 goals. It was a close game. Poor Melbourne, they're cooked. Maxi was devastated. Everyone's bashing Clayton Oliver. I guess you guys are going to bash him now as well, Dog?
Well, he's well held by Willem Drew, who's the best tagger in the competition. So little wonder he struggled. He only had 15 disposals, but yeah, look, I think we've spoken about Clayton Oliver quite a bit. Clayton Oliver needs to have a great pre-season, doesn't he? And get back to his best.
He's just got to switch back on. Make football his main priority. He's still got a long-term contract at Melbourne. They've still got the nucleus to be a successful side, and this year it's been disappointing on and off the field.
All right, Doggies losing to Adelaide seems to ruin their top 4 chances. What would you say, Jonathan?
Yeah, wow, geez, they looked a bit flat, and they got smashed in the midfield, which is rare. So I think it was 7-1 from the centre bounce or clearance. Anyway, Isaac Rankin back for Adelaide. They're a different team. And their forward line looks good. Like Fogarty's starting to hit his straps. Thilthorpe looks like he's going to be a player, and Tex Walker played well. So we said this about the Crows last year, though. We said, oh, no, get on them for finals next year. And so we could be tempted into saying the same thing. But I do think it's a different lineup, and I think they would be dangerous next year and more likely to get into finals. But let's not do our finals predictions for 2025. At the moment, it was probably more about the Bulldogs that, yeah, they're 2 games. They've lost all 3 games at Adelaide Oval this year, and the last 2 against Port Adelaide and Adelaide, they've been disappointing. So that hurts their chances, I think, of going all the way to the grand final.
That's the best game, I reckon, Darcy Fogarty's played. It was game number 100 and equal career best 5 goals. He's taken a little bit longer to become the player that they probably wanted him to be, JB, but key position forwards is hard. Yep. And he's always had the presence. He probably just needed to get his fitness up and work on his craft. But he's kicked 39 goals this year, and with a couple of games to go, that's a pretty good output for someone who's who's had 100 games under his belt. He's going well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what about the touch footy? Yesterday, did anyone watch the touch footy at Marvel Stadium?
What?
Richmond versus St Kilda. You know, it was the lowest tackle count game in any game of AFL football since 2006, which is astonishing considering the amount of defensive priorities and spotlight the tackling comes under. So
34 tackles to the Saints, 27 tackles to Richmond.
Oh, shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was
like Oztag.
It was, wasn't it?
Is that both teams going, you know what, the season's done and we can't be fucked.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go, you know what, just run. It's
100%.
almost like when the Harlem Globetrotters come to town, there's actually
Yeah.
no defence play. They just go, yeah, mate.
That's exactly
do what
what
you
it
want.
was. Yeah.
Hey, also, just on St Kilda too, like, Gabby Allen copped it a fair bit for meeting up with Taron Thomas for a coffee last week. Now, whether you agree with it or not, but there's plenty of people that will be involved in that decision as well to catch up with Taron Thomas. Gabby Allen is not the only person at St Kilda who would make decisions on list. There's a lot of people on list committees, aren't there, Brown Dog?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people at the Saints would have known that was going to go on. So
Yeah.
I thought the response was, I don't think the response
They
was
backed
great.
away pretty quickly, didn't they?
Jesus, they backed away, didn't they? At the end of the day, you can do your due diligence on a player. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to take them.
How many people were consulted when you recruited Fev to the Lions, Brownie? But was the playing group asked? Like, obviously a pretty controversial figure.
No, well, I don't think the playing group really gets involved in most of the decisions, if not any. But I think definitely there's 4 or 5 at least that are on list strategy committee meetings or committees. So there's a fair, they're always across these sorts of things.
So, just why would you though? Like, why would you have a meeting? Why? With that history,
He doesn't deserve it.
Well, it's look, at the end of the day, it's due diligence, isn't it, Dino? So if the AFL hasn't adjudicated as to whether he's going to be allowed to come back, I suppose they're doing their due diligence, or I suppose they're trying to find out where he's at. Obviously, clearly he's a good player in the AFL. He's shown that. But unfortunately, he's got a shocking off-field history, especially the last 2 years. So, and that obviously came under the spotlight. So I'd be very surprised now with the backlash that happened that any other teams had come forward and try and recruit him.
hey, so Carlton.
Would you
and
agree with
Essendon-
that, Dog?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I don't think he'll be playing in the AFL again.
I think teams would be a bit gun-shy now after the backlash.
Who can actually make it in? So we all said Essendon are done after Mac put a bullet in him after the siren.
Well, they've got Sydney and Brisbane too to finish off.
Okay, all right.
So it'd be astonishing if they actually made the finals.
Yep.
Essendon, they've only got themselves to blame. They had 19 inside 50s and kicked 1 goal 9 in the last quarter.
Oh, my
84% time spent in the forward half. They've only got themselves to blame. So you can look at that last contest, but the game should have been over. There 4 or 5 goals should have been 4 or 5 goals up. So they're in all sorts of trouble. I think it's down to Fremantle Bulldogs, Hawthorn and Carlton. 3 out of those 4 teams will make the top 8. Now, Fremantle's got a bloody tough run as well. So they play GWS and Port Adelaide the last 2. So Fremantle, they could actually miss it. But we'll wait and see.
All right, we're going to take a break because Styx is coming up, but also one of the greatest moments of the entire Paris Ozempics happened, and it happened real late. And I'm talking about one of the great dancers of modern history, Ray Gunn. That's coming up. Welcome back to Brownie's podcast. We're going to talk about the Ozempics. Anyone watch the closing ceremony? See Tom Cruise jump off a damn
Mate, it was
building?
unbelievable. It was a bit Mission Impossible-ish.
We'll get
wasn't
to it. Yeah, we'll get
I'm
to that.
sad that they're over. I've got nothing
am I.
to watch anymore.
So
It's
am I,
been
yeah.
great.
Mate. Also, we're going to talk about Ray Gunn real soon, but call Styx up, Broads, because he's got a story, apparently, that Dog wants to confirm is either true or false. I'll let you take this, Dog. I hope we hear his voicemail. Hello, this is Styx.
Does he call himself Sticks?
Yes.
Hi, phone Steve Kernahan. I'm busy right now. Please leave your name and number and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
It's just a great deep voice, isn't it?
Mate, that was a thrill just to hear his voicemail. Is he going to pick up, Dog, or is this another bullshit request that is going to fall through on your
I hope
part?
not. No, I hope not. I did text him and say we're going to call him, and he said, sweet. Well, he actually did.
It's not an
write back,
excuse just to play that Stand By Your Man footage after the 1987 grand final.
Wait, we're not the footy show.
Yeah,
Try again,
geez,
bros. We're going to go again. We're going to double down.
Come on.
on, Sticks. Pick up, you beautiful. You still got a mullet or not? Not really anymore, eh?
No, he doesn't.
That went a long time ago. Come on, Sticks. Leave a message this time, Doc. I want to hear your phone etiquette.
This sums me up, doesn't
Hi,
it?
phone Steve Kernahan. I'm busy right now. Please leave your name and number and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Sticks, it's the Brown Dog from Brownie's podcast. Stand by your man.
Oh.
Give us a buzz back.
Oh, no.
Give us a buzz back when you can, mate.
no.
We need to hear this story about Jason Dunstall, the chief, and you locking horns one night out at the tunnel.
Mate, he's definitely not calling back. You dropped the stand by your man thing. he's never calling us back.
What are you doing?
All right, hey, let's talk about ray gun in between. So when's the first time you'd heard about what had happened with this ray gun incident? Jonathan, you go first.
Well, I heard about it. Was it a couple of days? Was it yesterday? Heard about it Sunday. I think the event was on Saturday, wasn't it, Dino? And obviously the breakdancing was controversial because it was in the Olympics in the first place.
Yes.
I thought ray gun was a move, a particular move that was made, but I didn't realise it was Rachel Gunn from Australia who was making a variety of different moves, including the kangaroo hop and the one that I like the best, the sprinkler. She's rolled out the sprinkler on the Olympic stage. Can you believe it?
Everyone's like, someone called her on the internet Napoleon Vegemite. That's unbelievable. Comparing her dance moves to the great Napoleon Dynamite, obviously. There was one point she was just rubbing her head in the ground and doing the worm.
Yeah.
Campbell, what did you think about her dance moves?
She made a complete mockery of us as a country. I think we are now the laughing stock.
Take that
of
back.
The Olympics and the world due to Ray Gunn.
If
It was
you're an Olympic-
diabolically bad.
Well, if you thought that, if you were hopeful, a young breakdancer, and you were hopeful that it was going to be on the calendar or the schedule for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, where I think breakdancing would have been fantastic, you would have been absolutely horrified and disappointed Saturday night when Ray Gunn rolled out, because quickly they put a line straight through at the Olympic organiser, didn't they?
Who was her choreographer? Like, were they on acid? Like, what,
Mate,
what
I
is
don't
going
know.
on there?
But Dog, it was a combination of the dubious dance moves, but then her confidence as well.
Yeah, and like to score 0 from the judges is significantly bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if you do a belly flop, right, off the springboard and completely your dive, you'll get a couple of points.
Yeah.
So for her to get 0,
Yeah.
I think
she
it
was
was
also
the right mark. It was definitely the right mark by the judges.
John. She was
Well,
also dressed like a golfer. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she was actually. Was that just the team uniform though? Like she just has to wear the uniform. It's not all her
No, you
fault.
don't. You can actually wear whatever you want. But she's like, I
Yes.
clearly missed the memo that you can wear whatever you want, because she wore her Australian tracksuit, which
Yeah.
really added to the
And
fact.
the other thing is as well, like, you know, the skating came in, right? And we've got these beautiful...
That was in at the last Olympics, though.
Yeah, we've got these beautiful athletes that are, 14, 16, 18, young, like the new generation coming through doing these cool moves on the BMXs and the skateboards. So when I thought of breakdancing coming into these Olympics, I was like, oh, beautiful. Like, there's going to be some young up-and-coming, dancer. Ray Gunn's f***ing 34. Like, what?
It's a good point, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus.
Do
Hey,
you
to be
think that,
fair,
do you think of Ray Gunn's mind, though, that she was questioning, I suppose, how full her repertoire was? So she's gone for the sprinkler, which is, an age-old winner. If you roll that out at a party, even if your dance moves have been horrific, as soon as you roll the sprinkler out, bang, round of applause, and everyone loves it.
John, the
was
sprinkler-
she thinking the same thing in regard to the Olympic judges?
the sprinkler is essentially like a reliable shot of 4 runs in a test match. Just a hearty,
Yeah, straight
I
through
know.
your
reliable
suit.
shot. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Look, I thought we had an unbelievable games, apart from that moment late in the last night. I mean, even the guy that got caught buying cocaine has had a better moment through the Olympics than Ray Gunn.
Cocaine Kookaburra.
Yeah,
Tommy Craig. There's 2 sports have been booted off. Breakdancing's gone after only 1 appearance. And boxing, finally, one of the original sports, boxing has been given the rissole out of the Olympics as well for 2028 because of all the corruption in the judging.
Is that right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, finally, which is a bit disappointing actually, but
That's a
too
shame.
corrupt.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That no males can go on and win the female gold medal in 4 more years.
That'll be getting cut.
Can it not? Can it not get cut?
Well, what are the facts behind that?
She was technically a female. She has an XY chromosome, so she's technically a female.
I know, mate. I know.
What, did you?
They both had XY chromosomes that made it to the final.
All right, I'm not a scientist. I don't even know what that means.
I didn't see the final. Is that what happened? Dom?
Yeah.
Right.
And Steph Curry,
that's
what about
interesting,
Steph
isn't it?
Curry lit him up? Did you see
Oh,
him
man.
just
Oh,
making
yeah.
it rain late in the
Jesus.
gold medal game? He's a freak.
It's so dog. I wish you know how they take basketball seriously. Every sick player on this planet plays for the gold medal. Why doesn't that happen with the soccer? You just get these under 21.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, Dino.
Why?
Not too sure.
It's annoying.
They don't want to play.
Maybe the schedule, because it's pretty crazy. If you're like you got the Champions League, you got Euro, you got all that shit.
Yeah.
But it just feels funny.
Is it basketball's? Because basketball's not a field sport? Do you know, look, technically basketball's not a harder sport physically. They can play more games.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
sure.
that does make sense because the soccer's on anyway, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, I
you'll
want
have
it
to check
proper. I
that.
want it the best of the best. All right, let's try and call Sticks again. One more time, but we won't leave a message this time because we can't trust Campbell not to sing Stand By Your Man.
He would have been my first guest that I'd brought to this program in 3 years.
You got so close. Here we go. Stephen. Oh, Stephen.
He doesn't like answering.
Browny.
Oh, Sticks! How are you, great man?
No, just hold on. Just give me 1 second. Hold the phone.
All right, mate.
This is Big John. I can't believe we got him.
Is there any women in there or?
Beck, there's Beck. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
in here. How are you, Sticks?
I won't swear too much.
No, you can swear. I've been swearing like a trooper this podcast. We've got Dino, Brody, and Jonathan Brown with us.
Hey, Sticks!
Oh, how are you guys? Jeez.
Hey, Sticks.
So,
I'm
mate.
not live here. We're not live.
No, we're not live. No, so we can edit stuff out.
Hello, degenerates. This is Dean and Jonathan here. We recorded this bit we're saying right now after the rest of the podcast because what happened then, we did have to edit stuff out. And it was because Campbell Brown lost his mind, Jonathan.
Yeah, he did. And he tried to get Sticks to tell a story about a family tragedy.
Yes.
Which we didn't think that Sticks was comfortable with. We definitely know that Chief wouldn't have been comfortable for that to go to air. So we've made the executive decision, whilst Brown Dog's headed off to his other job, which he may not have had if this had actually gone to air. So we've looked after the great man.
The fact that Campbell thought that it should go to air probably is the reason why he's not on Channel 7's main channel. So, sorry, degenerates.
Enjoy the
you're
rest
just
of the podcast.
You're going to have to guess what the story was, because there's no way on God's green earth are we publishing that to the internet.
Thanks, lads.
We'll catch up soon.
See you, boys.
See you, mate.
Back in a second.
Jeez.
Oh, my God.
Hey, that just goes to show there's no pre-production on this podcast, is there, bro?
He just said, listen, he came and he goes, I've got a great story. I'm going to call Sticks. He's going to tell it. That was the great story. That was the great story.
I reckon.
Doggy, you need your head checked, man.
I reckon Sticks is half emotional telling that about old Buzz.
Back in a second,
I
don't
thought he was a
move.
bit flat.
Welcome back to Brownie's podcast. Astonishing events just happened before the ads. I'm sure you can agree. We're going to talk about the Carlton draft now. The last person to play in the Carlton draft was Joey Montagna, and he got drafted where, Commissioner? Where did he go?
Castlemaine Footy Club, Dusty's old club. And fair to say, major disappointment. Even though they won, he had one disposal. First centre bounce of the day, one disposal, then tore his quad. So game over for the day.
He's done a bucks.
So he has. He's done a bucks, actually worse than that. Bucks lasted 8 minutes. So I was severely disappointed with my recruiting, and that just topped it off as the commissioner. So I felt the need last night.
Yeah.
I had to put out a statement on TV. I was on First Crack on Joey's show and David King's show, and this is what I'd said, so I just want to put it out there. Because I feel as if now there's a sense of frustration in the community. They've lost faith. So I put this out there. I'd like to formally apologise for Joey Montagna's unacceptable showing for the Castlemaine Club yesterday afternoon. Performances like this damage the goodwill the Carlton draft has built up over previous seasons within the community.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, Dusty and Tom Hawke have recently retired, giving me great confidence that the quality of draftees I will assemble in 2025 will restore your faith in this fantastic initiative. So he's nearly single-handedly brought it down again. These blokes, Brown Dog, turning up, taking the cash, going out and ripping the heart and soul out of these communities and giving less than Stix's dog gave when he jumped into that pool. This is going to bring down.
If he's got half a soul, he should give the money back to the footy club and to the CUB. I just sent Stix a message saying thanks for that. He goes, "What the was that all about?"
You can listen to it on Brownie's podcast in about 2 hours.
A good question from Sticks. Astonishing. Oh, my God.
I've lost my way today, guys.
All right. Well, at least the footy was amazing over the weekend, and we'll speak to you on Thursday.